Why haven't we found aliens yet? With billions of stars and even more planets, why does the universe feel so quiet? In this video, we'll explore the most convincing theories that try to answer that very question. From cosmic silence to hidden civilizations, you'll hear ideas so strange and so strangely peaceful that your mind will drift gently into sleep. Whether you're here for the mystery or just to rest your eyes and float through space, you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you might not have all the answers, but you'll be far too relaxed to care. And before we begin, tell me in the comments, do you believe alien life exists? Or do you think we really might be alone? Your thoughts help shape this journey, so share them below. And if you enjoy videos like this, hit the like button and ensure you're subscribed so you join us under the stars anytime you need to drift off. Now, let's get started. Close your eyes and imagine the universe, not as a distant, cold void, but as a great sleeping ocean, dark, vast, and endlessly still. Now ask yourself this question: if life on Earth is possible, why haven't we found it anywhere else? This is not a question of science fiction or fantasy. It's a question at the heart of modern astronomy. And the deeper we look into space, the more unsettling the silence becomes. We live in a galaxy called the Milky Way. It's not small. It holds somewhere between 100 and 400 billion stars. And thanks to telescopes like Kepler and James Webb, we now know something astonishing. Most of those stars have planets, and many of those planets are rocky, like Earth. Some even sit in the so-called habitable zone, where liquid water could exist, and where life, at least as we know it, might take hold. So, if there are billions of potentially life-supporting worlds in our galaxy alone, where is everybody? This quiet mystery has a name. It's called the Fermi Paradox, and it begins with the most innocent of questions. Why are we alone? The Fermi Paradox is not based on science fiction, but on logic. Mathematically, the odds say there should be life, intelligent life, even scattered across the stars. Some of that life, in theory, could be millions of years older than us, old enough to master technology, old enough to build starships, colonies, or at the very least, send signals. A single civilization, given enough time, could cross the entire galaxy. Even with slow generational ships, a patient species could spread from star to star, settling new worlds like cosmic seeds. It would only take a few million years, a blink in cosmic time. And yet, when we listen to the heavens, with our most sensitive instruments, we hear nothing. Not a whisper, not a flicker, just the gentle hum of background radiation and the faint, steady pulse of ancient stars. The universe is not just quiet, it is eerily, absolutely silent. This is the contradiction at the heart of the Fermi Paradox, the high probability of life against the total lack of evidence for it. It's not just that aliens haven't visited. We haven't detected even the smallest, most basic hint of intelligent life. No signals, no structures, no noise, just quiet. But maybe, just maybe, that quiet isn't something to fear. Maybe it's something to understand, something to explore. Tonight, we begin that journey together, not with shouting, not with sirens, but with calm curiosity as you lie back and let your body rest. We'll drift through the most convincing alien theories ever imagined, not to scare, but to soothe. Each idea we visit will be like a star, bright for a moment, then fading gently into the distance. Some will suggest that we are the first, the pioneers of intelligence, the only voice in a dark forest that hasn't yet learned to whisper. Others will say we're late to the party, and that the truly advanced civilizations have gone silent on purpose, watching, waiting, or hiding. There are theories that suggest the silence is protective, that we're being shielded by unseen forces, guarded from dangers we're not yet ready to face. And there are stranger ideas still, that perhaps the universe isn't what we think it is, that maybe we live in a simulation, or that the signals we seek are all around us, but in a form we can't yet understand. Through each chapter of this journey, you don't need to remember every name or concept. You don't need to solve the puzzle. You only need to relax and let your thoughts drift, like dust between stars. Because maybe the universe doesn't speak in words. Maybe its silence is the lullaby of creation. A song so old, so vast, we're only just beginning to hear the first notes. And before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. Do you believe there's intelligent life out there? Or does the quiet sky make you wonder if we really are alone? Let me know in the comments. Your thoughts may help someone else drift off with wonder too. And if you'd like to fall asleep to more journeys like this, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We travel through the stars every week, and there's always room aboard the ship. Now, take one last deep breath, and let's move to the next chapter, because the silence is only the beginning. As we continue our quiet journey through the stars, let's pause to consider something simple, something gentle, but deeply profound. What if the universe is built for life? It sounds like a romantic thought, but it's not just poetry. It's a conclusion many scientists have quietly come to, based on a single, extraordinary fact: planets are not rare. Once upon a time, not long ago, we believed our solar system was special, unique even. We had one star, 9 planets, and only one Earth with life. Everything outside that? Darkness, mystery, empty space. But then came the telescopes. First, we looked at stars that dimmed for no reason. Then, we measured wobbles in their motion. And what we discovered changed everything. It turns out that nearly every star you see in the night sky, and billions more you cannot, have planets. Some have a few, some have dozens, some even have systems like ours, with rocky worlds close in, and gas giants circling the edges. We now believe there are more planets than stars in the Milky Way alone, more than 400 billion stars, and possibly trillions of planets. That's not just abundance, that's a cosmic garden. And among those trillions of planets, a certain number exist in what's called the habitable zone, a not too hot, not too cold region, around a star where liquid water could exist. Water, as we understand it, is essential for life. So when we find planets in this zone, especially rocky ones like Earth, our imaginations begin to stir. Could there be oceans? Rivers? Simple cells or strange creatures growing quietly under alien skies? But it doesn't stop there. Some of these planets orbit calm, stable stars, like our own sun, burning at just the right brightness. For billions of years, giving lifetime to evolve slowly, patiently. Some of them may even have moons to stabilize their climates, or magnetic fields to protect their atmospheres from solar winds. And some may be part of star systems, in calm neighborhoods of the galaxy, far from violent collisions or radiation storms. In other words, life might not be rare, it might be inevitable. If the ingredients are common, and the conditions repeat themselves, then life, whatever form it takes, could be one of the universe's most natural outcomes, like frost on a window, like moss on a stone, like dreams in a sleeping mind. But here's where the beauty turns back into mystery. If life is common, why haven't we seen it? Even with all these planets, even with all this time, the skies remain quiet. It's like walking through a blooming garden, but hearing no bees, no wind, no motion, only stillness. And that silence, as we explored in Chapter 1, is the paradox that lingers in the background of every discovery. But tonight, we don't need to solve that riddle. We only need to understand how richly possible life is. Because once we accept that the universe is fertile, abundant in worlds and warmth and water, then the question isn't just where is everyone? It becomes something more personal. What kind of life is out there? And what might it look like? Would it think? Would it dream? Would it wonder about us as we wonder about it? Or would it be silent, content to float through its oceans or breathe its methane skies, without ever needing more? Some theories suggest we're surrounded by life we simply don't recognize. Simple bacteria hiding in ice, fungal networks beneath alien soils, or even chemical dances that mimic life, but never evolve to speak or build or fly. In this view, the universe is full, not empty, but the fullness is quiet, unassuming, non-verbal, and that quiet abundance is no less beautiful than a conversation across the stars. As you breathe gently and settle deeper into rest, let your mind wander to those distant worlds, to oceans that never knew Earth's moon, to skies lit by twin suns, where rain might fall sideways, and colors we've never seen dance on the horizon. You don't need to solve anything. You're just visiting, drifting softly among the stars, through a universe that may be teeming with life, but prefers to whisper. And before we continue to the next chapter, I'd love to know, if you could visit just one alien world, what would you hope to see there? Share your dream in the comments. Would it be peaceful, teeming with creatures, or a calm, endless ocean beneath golden skies? Let your imagination speak. And if you've enjoyed the journey so far, tap subscribe and like this video. It helps others find this peaceful corner of the cosmos and helps us keep exploring together. Now, close your eyes if they aren't already. The stars are still moving, and our journey has just begun. Let's return to a simple truth. If the universe is filled with planets, and many of them can support life, and life on Earth emerged relatively early, then why aren't we surrounded by signals? By starships? By the echoes of civilizations far older and far more advanced than our own? There's a theory that tries to answer that question. A quiet, chilling idea called the Great Filter. Imagine life as a long, winding road. A cosmic journey filled with barriers, places where progress can stop or simply fail to begin. Now imagine that along this road, there are hurdles so high that almost no one ever makes it past. That's what the Great Filter is. It's the idea that somewhere on the path, from lifeless chemistry to interstellar civilization, there is a wall, a silent, invisible wall, that almost no one gets through. This filter could be at the very beginning, at the origin of life itself. Creating a living cell from non-living molecules is no small task. Think of early Earth. Volcanoes, lightning storms, oceans filled with complex chemistry, a chaotic mix of elements churning endlessly. Out of that chaos, somehow, a molecule formed that could replicate itself. That single moment may be the rarest event in the history of the cosmos. If the great filter is there, right at the start, then we may have already passed it. We are the miracle, the rare spark that made it through when trillions of other worlds never did. If that's true, then the silence we hear is the silence of potential unrealized, oceans that never stirred, planets that never breathed. In this view, we're not just lucky, we're unimaginably rare. But there's another possibility. Maybe life starts easily. Maybe it flourishes on millions of planets. Maybe we're not alone in that way. But then comes the next set of hurdles. Developing intelligence, creating technology, avoiding self-destruction. And here, the filter may lie ahead of us. It could be that most civilizations, after reaching a certain level of power, end up erasing themselves, not through war necessarily, but through imbalance, environmental collapse, runaway AI, uncontrolled expansion, mistakes that can't be undone. If this is true, then the silence of the stars is not a mystery. It's a warning. It says, yes, life can begin. Yes, intelligence can rise, but few can survive their own success. And if the great filter lies ahead, then we are not the miracle. We are the test. And we haven't passed yet. But tonight is not about fear. It's about gentle reflection. Because in every version of the great filter, whether it's behind us or ahead, there is something grounding, something deeply human. It reminds us how delicate life is, how precious our choices are, and how astonishing it is that we are here, breathing, thinking, floating quietly through space. The great filter isn't just a theory, it's an invitation to look at our world with softer eyes, to recognize the fragility of this moment, and to wonder, what will we choose to become? Will we be one of the few that pass the test? Will we reach the stars and whisper back to the silence, we made it, or will our voice fade, like so many others may have before? For now, we don't need to answer that. We can simply rest in the possibility that we are rare, and that the stillness around us is a reminder to be careful with our light, the light of thought, of kindness, of survival. And before we drift to the next idea, I'll ask you something to ponder. If you're still awake, do you think humanity will make it past its own great filter? Or do you believe we are already living proof that it can be done? Leave a comment below. Even a single sentence can become a star in someone else's night sky. And if this quiet journey is bringing you peace, please consider tapping like and subscribing for more. We explore these thoughts every week, always gently and always in good company. Now take a slow breath and imagine what lies just beyond the filter, a deeper sky, a quieter kind of hope. We'll continue there in the next chapter. If life is rare, perhaps it's because it's hard. Not just hard to sustain or hard to evolve into something intelligent, but hard to begin. Tonight, we drift into the heart of that mystery, into the very first breath of life, a concept known as abiogenesis. The word sounds complex, but its meaning is simple: life from non-life. And it may be the most difficult trick the universe has ever pulled. Let's imagine the Earth long before humans, before mammals, before dinosaurs, before even plants. A barren, chaotic world. Mountains still forming, oceans swirling with chemicals, lightning striking down like the lashes of gods. There was no biology, only physics, chemistry, and time. But hidden in this chaos was a recipe waiting to happen. The oceans were warm, full of amino acids, carbon compounds, and minerals from volcanic eruptions. Everything was there, like the scattered parts of a watch, But there was no watchmaker. Abiogenesis asks, can the watch build itself? Can the right pieces, by random chance or deep cosmic patience, assemble into something alive? Not something complex, not something human, just something simple, a molecule that can copy itself. Scientists have theories. Some believe it began with RNA, a molecule that carries information and can also perform simple chemical tasks. Others think it started in hydrothermal vents, deep in the ocean, where hot minerals and pressure might have created the first safe cradle for life. Still, others imagine tidal pools, baking under sunlight, with waves and heat mixing chemistry, until something shifted and something began to grow. Whatever the truth may be, the jump from non-life to life is not just unlikely, it may be astronomically improbable. And yet, it happened, at least once. Here, the theory of abiogenesis as the great filter suggests, this event, this first spark, may be the bottleneck that stops life from being common. Out of trillions of planets, only one may have rolled the right cosmic dice. A perfect chain reaction of lucky molecules, happening in the perfect place, at the perfect time, under the perfect conditions. That's not evolution. That's magic, written in the language of probability. And if that's true, then we are not just lucky. We are the product of a 1 in a trillion event. The silence of the universe isn't ominous, it's sacred. Because nothing else ever got started. Not because they failed, but because they never even had the chance. Let that sink in as you drift deeper into rest. You are made of atoms that once floated freely in a lifeless sea. You are proof that the impossible can happen, that from chaos, something delicate and aware can arise. But maybe, just maybe, it didn't happen only once. Maybe abiogenesis is rare, but not unique. Maybe it happened 5 times, or 50, or 5,000. But only one of those instances happened on a planet that could hold on to it. A planet that didn't burn too hot, or freeze too fast, or get hit by an asteroid before life took hold. And that leads us to a quieter question. How many sparks died in the cradle? How many alien Earths flashed with brief microbial hope before fading into silence again? Oceans that stirred with promise, but never had enough time. We may be the only success story in a universe full of almosts. The only flicker that grew into a flame. And the beauty of that thought isn't in our loneliness, it's in our responsibility to carry the story forward, to be the caretakers of the rarest phenomenon we know, life. So as you relax further into this gentle night, take comfort in that idea. Not fear, not pressure, just wonder. You are not just a dreamer in a sleeping galaxy. You are a flame, born from a miracle. Before we move gently to the next chapter, I'll ask you this. Do you believe life could begin somewhere else? All over again without help? Or do you think something more must be involved? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one, and your curiosity helps fuel this shared journey. If you're enjoying this calm cosmic drift, a like and a subscribe helps more minds find their way into peaceful wonder. Now breathe in slowly, and breathe out even slower. The rarest spark is still glowing. Let's follow it to the next step in our journey through the stars. Let's imagine, for a moment, that life does begin easily, that the spark isn't so rare after all. that on distant worlds, in alien oceans or strange atmospheres, simple life has emerged. Not once, but many times. It stirs. It swims. It feeds. It begins the slow process of becoming something more. But then, it disappears. This is the idea behind the Gaian bottleneck, a theory that suggests life may begin often, but it almost never lasts. Because the early stages of life are the most fragile. The universe is not gentle. It is cold, violent, and always changing. A new biosphere own just learning to breathe can be easily broken. One asteroid, one solar flare, one chemical imbalance in its own atmosphere, and it collapses. Here on Earth, we take stability for granted. But in the beginning, our world was far from stable. The first living cells floated in an unpredictable ocean, under skies filled with lightning, volcanoes, and ultraviolet radiation. They survived not because it was easy, but because they adapted fast enough. In many cases, life changes its world, and not always for the better. As it consumes and grows, it also releases waste. It alters its environment, and if it doesn't evolve the tools to regulate those changes, it may trigger its own extinction. On Earth, this nearly happened. Over 2 billion years ago, a group of tiny, quiet microbes began performing photosynthesis, converting sunlight into energy and releasing oxygen as a byproduct. That oxygen was toxic to almost every other form of life. It caused one of the largest mass extinctions in Earth's history, a time we now call the Great Oxidation Event. Life nearly destroyed itself, not through war or violence, but by trying to survive. And yet, it adapted. Some organisms evolved to use oxygen rather than fear it. That shift led to complex cells and eventually to animals, plants, and us. But on most worlds, that transformation may never happen. The system collapses, the biosphere dies, and the planet becomes silent again. This is the bottleneck, not at the beginning, but shortly after, a tiny window where life must learn to balance its world before it poisons or freezes itself. Earth may have slipped through that narrow passage by sheer chance, and we are the result. Let your thoughts drift for a moment to those other worlds. Planets with seas just like ours, filled with alien microbes, thriving for a brief million years, before their own atmosphere turned hostile, before the oceans froze, or boiled, or dried up into dust. The Gaian bottleneck reminds us that balance is not easy, that harmony takes time, and a bit of cosmic patience. Our Earth found that harmony, or perhaps it created it. And tonight, you're resting on a planet that learned to survive itself. We often think of intelligence as the great leap forward, but maybe the first true sign of a wise planet is not thought, but stability, a biosphere that doesn't burn out, a system that learns to care for itself long before it ever thinks of leaving home. So as you sink further into rest, know this: you are part of a world that made it through the most dangerous time. Not war, not extinction, but imbalance. And that survival is no less remarkable than any invention. Before we move on, consider this gentle question. Do you think Earth is rare because it balanced itself in time, or because it was always meant to? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you believe. And if this video is helping you relax Feel free to like and subscribe. It helps more wanderers find their way to peace, through stars and silence. Take one more breath in and let it go. The worst has passed, and the next chapter will carry us deeper into the miracle of survival. We've traveled far already. We've considered the spark of life, the fragile dance of balance, the silence of empty oceans. But what if life does begin often, and even survives that fragile early stage, yet still fails to become us? Tonight, we consider a quiet but humbling idea, the rare Earth hypothesis, a theory that says, quite simply, we are not alone because no one else is out there, but because no one else is like us. It begins with this question: is intelligent life inevitable? Or is it a cosmic fluke? Evolution is not a straight line. It's not designed to create minds, or cities, or spacecraft. It only creates what survives. So while life might thrive across the galaxy, as slime, or algae, or bacteria, the leap to self-aware, technological intelligence might be so rare, so unrepeatable, that Earth may be the only example. The rare Earth hypothesis takes this idea further. It suggests that for intelligent life to appear, you don't just need the right chemistry, you need a perfect storm of events, timings, and protections. And Earth, somehow, had them all. Let's begin with our star. The Sun. Not too big, not too small. A yellow dwarf, long-lived and stable. It provides steady warmth for billions of years. If we had orbited a red dwarf, we might have faced deadly flares. If a blue giant, we wouldn't have had time to evolve at all. We needed something just right, and we got it. Next, our location in the galaxy. We live in what astronomers call the galactic habitable zone, far from the chaotic center, where radiation is high and stars collide, but close enough to gather the heavy elements needed for rocky planets and complex chemistry. Many planets form, but not all form in the right neighborhood. Now consider our moon. Yes, the moon. It's not a coincidence. Earth's moon is unusually large compared to its planet. It helps stabilize our planet's tilt, which gives us consistent seasons. Without it, our climate might swing wildly, preventing any long-term stability for life. Some scientists believe the moon also stirred tidal pools in Earth's early days, perhaps helping that first spark of life ignite. Then there's Jupiter, a massive guardian. Its gravity acts like a vacuum, pulling in comets and asteroids that might otherwise strike Earth. Without it, life here may have been reset again and again, wiped out before it had a chance to grow complex. And don't forget plate tectonics. The slow movement of Earth's crust helps recycle minerals, regulate carbon dioxide, and maintain the climate over millions of years. No tectonics, no carbon cycle, no carbon cycle, no temperature regulation, no regulation, no complex life, and still there's more. Our magnetic field, generated by Earth's molten iron core, protects us from solar wind that would strip our atmosphere away. Our atmosphere itself holds just the right balance of gases. Our oceans, our rainfall, our stable orbit, our oxygen levels, every single piece just right. So when we step back and look at the big picture, we begin to realize something humbling. It's not just that Earth supports life, it's that Earth supports intelligent life, and that combination might be the rarest thing in the cosmos. The rare Earth hypothesis is not meant to scare us. It's meant to center us, to help us appreciate how fortunate, how uniquely positioned we truly are. We are not the universe's norm. We may be its exception. And that thought, rather than make us feel small, can make us feel incredibly precious. So, as your thoughts float gently outward, imagine the galaxy again, this time not as an empty sea, but as a garden of simple life. Tiny, beautiful things, drifting, growing, evolving, but never quite becoming what we became. Not because they failed, but because Earth rolled a set of dice that almost no other planet ever has. And here you are, lying in bed, alive, awake, built from stardust, fueled by chance, yet capable of wonder. Let that thought wrap around you, like a blanket of stars. You are rare, and the world beneath you is a miracle. Before we drift into the next chapter, here's a soft question to reflect on. Do you think there are other Earths out there? Or is this planet truly one of a kind? I'd love to hear your thoughts below in the comments. Even just a few words. And if this video is helping you rest, tap like and subscribe to join this quiet corner of the cosmos. We explore it together, week by week, peacefully. Now take a deep breath and let your mind float into the vastness of possibility. We continue soon with a new idea. What if we're the first? By now, we've explored theories where life is rare, or fragile, or slow to evolve. But what if the silence we hear is not because others failed, but because we arrived first? This idea is known as the firstborn theory, and though it sounds bold, it's built on a very simple truth. Every story must have a beginning. Imagine the universe as a vast, empty book. It stretches for billions of pages. Galaxies like paragraphs, stars like commas, planets like scattered punctuation, and somewhere a story begins. Someone must turn the first page. Someone must be the first voice to speak. And maybe, just maybe, that voice is ours. It's easy to assume that the universe is ancient and that many civilizations must be older than us. But the truth is, the universe spent billions of years doing nothing more than building the ingredients for life. It took time for the first stars to form and die, spreading heavy elements into space. Those elements: carbon, oxygen, iron, are the stuff life is made from, and they weren't available in the earliest days. Life had to wait for the universe to become ready. We often forget this part. We think in terms of planets, but the first stars didn't have planets like Earth. They were made mostly of hydrogen and helium, too simple to support anything complex. It wasn't until multiple generations of stars lived and died that enough heavy material existed to form rocky planets like ours. So in cosmic terms, we might not be late. We might be right on time, or just slightly ahead. The firstborn theory suggests that humanity could be the very first technological civilization in the Milky Way galaxy. Not because we're special, but because the conditions are just now becoming favorable. And if that's true, then the silence around us isn't a puzzle, it's a blank canvas. We're not hearing alien signals because there are none to hear. No galactic empires, no ancient beacons, no cosmic civilizations whispering across the stars. Just us, the first voice in a sleeping room. And if you let your thoughts drift quietly with this idea, it can bring an unexpected kind of peace. Because being first means being free. Free from comparison, free from fear, free to shape the future. Without influence, without precedent, it means we get to decide what intelligence looks like, what kindness looks like, what civilization will become when it spreads among the stars. But being first also carries a quiet responsibility. Like the first flame in the dark, we have a choice. Will we shine gently or burn too fast? Will we become the ancestors to civilizations yet unborn? Or will we vanish and leave the universe waiting once more? The firstborn theory is not just about astronomy. It's about hope and caution and wonder. It tells us that maybe we're not late, we're early, and that our voice may be the one that starts the chorus. So as your body relaxes and your mind floats quietly outward, imagine this. The universe isn't empty. It's just young. You are lying in the silence before the song, a witness to the first note, a listener to the soft breath, before a billion voices join in someday. And before we continue, I'll leave you with this soft question. If we are the first, what kind of future do you hope we build? Leave your vision in the comments. Big or small, practical or poetic. And if you're enjoying this peaceful journey, consider tapping like and subscribe so you don't miss the next quiet chapter among the stars. Now, close your eyes if they're not already, and imagine the stillness not as absence, but as potential, a garden unplanted, a sky waiting to be filled. In the next chapter, we'll ask another quiet question. What if they are here, but choose not to show themselves? We've asked why the stars are silent, why life seems so rare, and whether we might be the first to awaken. But tonight, let's consider something different. Not that we're alone, but that we're being watched. Not with malice, but with care. This is the idea behind the Zoo hypothesis, a theory as gentle as it is unsettling. It suggests we are not alone at all, only isolated by design. Imagine Earth as a wildlife preserve, a protected sanctuary, and imagine that somewhere out there, beyond our telescopes, past the reach of our probes, are civilizations far more advanced than our own. They know we exist. They've known for a long time, but they have chosen not to interfere. To us, the universe seems silent, but to them, it may be quietly alive. A network of civilizations watching, waiting, and studying. We are the uncontacted tribe, in the middle of a protected rainforest, surrounded by beings who could reach us in an instant, but don't. Not because we're unimportant, but because we are precious. The Zoo hypothesis rests on a single principle: non-interference. To visit us, to reveal themselves, would be to change us permanently. Our cultures, our beliefs, our self-understanding, all of it would shift. And so, out of respect, they stay away. They let us grow on our own, make our mistakes, learn our lessons. Naturally, it's a comforting thought that someone is watching, not with weapons, but with wisdom. Not as conquerors, but as caretakers. They wait, perhaps for a signal, a moment, some milestone of maturity that says, we're ready, ready to meet our neighbors, ready to join a greater whole. Of course, their reasons might not be sentimental at all. Perhaps they simply want to avoid contamination, not for our sake, but for theirs. Just as we protect fragile environments from outside influence, so too might they see us as a volatile system best left untouched, until stable. Their silence is the silence of a laboratory window, a one-way mirror, not meant to be broken. Or perhaps we're not being studied or judged at all, but simply allowed to exist, like a meadow left wild, a painting left unfinished, beautiful, precisely because it is unspoiled. In that view, we are not being watched, we are being honored, given the rare gift of unshaped growth. Now, is this theory true? We can't know. But it offers a peaceful possibility that the silence is not cold or indifferent, but gentle, and that the universe we float through is not empty, but patient. So as you lie still, imagine distant minds, not in ships, but in quiet orbit, waiting, listening, rooting for us, like parents watching their children learn to walk, or teachers waiting for a question, or travelers looking back at the path they once walked and smiling as they see us, just beginning the same journey. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to solve the mystery tonight. You only need to know that even in the quiet, you may not be alone. And before we close this chapter, here's a soft question to dream on. If an alien race is watching us, what do you think they're waiting for? Leave your thoughts below. Your imagination might be more insightful than you realize. And if this video is bringing you peace, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps others find this gentle corner of the universe. Now take one more slow breath and imagine Earth floating in the dark, surrounded not by silence, but by quiet, watchful eyes. In the next chapter, we'll explore another possibility. What if we're not in a zoo, but in an experiment? Last time, we imagined a gentle universe, a cosmic preserve where Earth is protected, watched from afar, like an animal sanctuary. But tonight, let's turn that idea just slightly. What if we are not part of a zoo, but part of a lab? Still being watched, but not to be protected, to be measured. This is the idea behind the laboratory hypothesis, a theory that suggests humanity, and perhaps all life on Earth, is the subject of a long, careful experiment. It doesn't mean we were created artificially. It doesn't require aliens to have planted our DNA or sculpted our biology from scratch. But it does suggest this. Once intelligent life began here, it was noticed. And rather than interfere, the watchers decided to let us unfold naturally, not as zookeepers watching with admiration, but as scientists, collecting data. In this theory, our planet is the cosmic equivalent of a petri dish, and our wars, our music, our cultures are all part of the experiment's unfolding timeline. No contact is made, no help is given, because interference would ruin the purity of the results. Imagine advanced observers with unimaginable patience, not watching from orbit, but perhaps from beyond space and time, in dimensions we don't yet understand. To them, centuries may pass in the blink of an eye, and we are a growing pattern, a blooming test case in the great laboratory of consciousness. This doesn't need to be sinister. There are no cages, no probes, no cruel intent, only curiosity, and maybe a kind of respect, the way we respect a flame by watching it without touching, the way we study a forest without disturbing the animals inside. They don't visit because they don't need to. Every move we make, every word we record is a signal. They're already watching. In this scenario, CETIA search for extraterrestrial intelligence isn't being ignored. It's being logged, catalogued, compared against 100 other planets, just like ours, all at different stages in their evolutionary timelines. We don't see them, because we're not meant to. Not yet. The laboratory hypothesis invites us to imagine that we are not alone and never were, but we are simply being left untouched, because contact would change everything. It would destroy the very thing they came to observe. And if you're still awake, gently drifting in and out of these thoughts, ask yourself, how would we behave if we knew we were being studied? Would we try to impress them? Or would we forget they're there and live more authentically? Maybe. That's the point. To watch life as it is, unaware, unfiltered, uninfluenced. As you relax deeper now, breathe in the stillness of that idea, that your thoughts, your existence, might be part of a much larger canvas, observed not by gods, not by tyrants, but by quiet, patient minds, trying to understand the same things we are. What is life? What is intelligence? And what happens next? We may never know if this theory is true, but if it is, then maybe being watched isn't something to fear. Maybe it's something to appreciate, to live as well as we can, to treat each other gently, to build something worth watching, even if we never meet the ones on the other side of the glass. And before we step forward, I'll ask you one quiet question. If you knew Earth was part of a cosmic experiment, what message would you hope the observers take away? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective is part of this journey too. And if this chapter helped you relax, you can support future explorations by tapping like and subscribe. It means more than you know. Now close your eyes and imagine a pair of eyes, looking back, not judging, just listening. In our next chapter, we'll consider a darker idea. What if the silence is not accidental, but enforced? Until now, we've explored comforting ideas, theories where aliens are protectors, or silent watchers, or simply not ready to speak. But tonight, we walk into the shadows, not to scare you, but to understand another possibility, one that explains the silence, not as an accident, but as strategy. This is the dark forest theory, a theory that whispers, perhaps the universe is quiet, because it must be. Imagine the galaxy as a vast, dark forest at night. Every civilization is a hunter, moving silently through the trees. They don't know who else is out there. They don't know who's watching. They only know this. To be seen is to be vulnerable. In this forest, you cannot call out, because if you speak, you reveal your position, and if another hunter hears you, they have a choice: take the risk or eliminate it. Not out of cruelty, but out of caution, because in a universe with limited knowledge and unknowable intentions, the safest move is silence. This theory asks us to imagine that civilizations do exist, many of them, but they've all come to the same conclusion: stay quiet or die. They don't broadcast their presence. They don't send messages to the stars. They listen. They hide. They survive. And what about us? For over a century, humanity has been broadcasting signals into space: television, radar, radio waves. We've sent probes with greetings carved in gold. We've even aimed messages at nearby star systems, introducing ourselves. From the perspective of the dark forest, this was incredibly reckless. Imagine being a child in a dark, silent jungle, shouting into the night, not knowing who's listening, not knowing what might answer. Perhaps the only reason we're still here is that our signals haven't reached the wrong listener yet, or they already have. And something is deciding. But despite how cold this theory sounds, it's not meant to inspire fear. It's meant to explain a silence that feels unnatural. The dark forest says, it's not that no one is out there, it's that everyone is hiding. Let your mind drift now into that silent forest. See the stars, not as beacons of life, but as shadowed campsites where quiet fires burn, hidden from view. Each one a world, listening, waiting, afraid to speak. And perhaps this theory is wrong. Perhaps some civilizations will take the risk, will reach out, will show kindness instead of fear. But until then, we walk softly, we listen, and we wonder what might be moving between the trees. Now, are you still with me? If so, here's a question worth pondering. Do you think we were right to send our signals into the stars? Or should we have stayed silent, like all the rest? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Even a whisper in the dark is better than nothing. And if this quiet journey is helping you drift, tap like, and consider subscribing for the chapters still to come. Now take a slow breath and feel the stillness around you. Not emptiness, but caution. In the next chapter, we'll explore a more hopeful alternative. What if someone is watching, not to harm, but to protect? The last chapter led us into the shadows, into a forest where silence meant survival. But tonight, let's turn back toward the light. Let's imagine that we're not alone and we're not at risk, because something older, something wiser, is quietly watching over us. This is the Guardian hypothesis, and it suggests that the reason we don't hear other civilizations isn't because they're hiding from each other. It's because someone is hiding us. Imagine a civilization so advanced that it no longer explores space with ships, but with presence. So far beyond our understanding, they don't seek power. They seek stability. And when they find young species struggling to survive, just beginning to send signals into space, they do not fear them. They protect them. They cloak them, shield them, preserve their chance to grow without being found too soon. It sounds like a story, but it's rooted in logic. If the universe is dangerous, if threats do exist, then shielding young life might be the only way it survives. Our signals, our heat, our radiation, all of it scrubbed or redirected before it ever leaves the solar system, not to imprison us, but to guard us. In this vision, Earth is not exposed. It is sheltered, not because we're helpless, but because we are still learning. And the Guardians, whoever they are, have decided to give us time. Time to evolve, to mature, to discover for ourselves what kind of civilization we want to become. They don't speak to us. They don't interfere, because true protection is invisible. It lets you stumble and grow stronger. It lets you ask questions and find your own answers. They are not saviors. They are not conquerors. They are like wind in the trees, felt but not seen, guiding the forest without ever cutting it down. Some believe that Earth has already come close to cosmic discovery, that certain scientific breakthroughs have brushed up against universal limits and been quietly redirected. We call it chance, or mystery, or error. But perhaps it was a nudge, a hand gently moving ours away from danger. It's a comforting idea, not a dark forest, but a cosmic nursery. Not predators in the shadows, but gardeners at the edges, watching the seedlings grow. As you rest tonight, let this idea settle over you, that the silence isn't fear, it's protection, that the quiet sky is not indifferent, but intentional, and that maybe, somewhere beyond our perception, something is waiting, not to test us, but to welcome us when we're ready. Now, if you're still drifting with me, here's something to reflect on. If someone is protecting Earth, what do you think they're waiting for us to do before they say hello? Leave your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your vision. And if you'd like to help grow this quiet sanctuary of thought, tap like and subscribe so we can keep wandering the stars together. Take one last slow breath. The universe isn't silent out of fear. It may be silent out of love. In the next chapter, we'll step even further beyond the physical and ask a strange digital question. What if this is all a simulation? Tonight, we take a step inward, not into space, but into reality itself. Because among all the theories we've explored, from protectors to predators, from watchers to warnings, there is one that changes everything. It asks not, where are the aliens? But rather, are we even real? This is the simulation hypothesis, a quiet, radical idea that everything we see, everything we feel, might be running on a computer. It sounds like science fiction, and maybe it is. But many physicists, philosophers, and even tech pioneers take this theory seriously. The logic is simple and strangely persuasive. If a civilization becomes advanced enough, it will one day gain the power to simulate entire worlds, not just games, but full, immersive realities. And if they can do it once, they can do it 1,000,000 times. Now, think of this. There's only one base reality, but there could be billions of simulated ones. Statistically, it becomes far more likely that we're inside one of the simulations than the original. In other words, we may not be living in the universe. We may be living in a model of it. What does that mean? The stars, the planets, the light you see, the ground beneath you, all real to you, all experienced, all detailed, but underneath it all, perhaps there is no matter, only code. The simulation hypothesis offers a strangely beautiful answer to the Fermi Paradox. Where are the aliens? Maybe they weren't written into the simulation. Maybe this particular version of reality was designed to study a single intelligent species, us, a clean experiment, a controlled setting, a galaxy with no interference. Or maybe the limits we observe, the speed of light, the mysteries of quantum physics, the strange behavior of particles when we observe them, aren't natural laws. They're system boundaries, rendering tricks, resource optimizations, not bugs, but features. This theory doesn't have to feel cold. It doesn't erase meaning. It redefines it. Because even if we're simulated, our experiences are still real to us. Our emotions, our thoughts, our memories, they exist, and they matter. Maybe the creators of this simulation are studying us, like we study ancient cultures. Maybe they're descendants of humans, running ancestor simulations to understand their own past. Or maybe there's something else entirely, unknowable, unreachable. Watching through a veil of mathematics, you might feel very small in this theory. But look again. In a universe built of code, every particle, every breath, every dream was placed with intention. You are not random. You are part of a pattern, a moment in a story being rendered in real time. So rest now in that thought, that even if the sky above is a backdrop and the world around you is pixels, your peace is real, your sleep is real, and your presence here is part of the design. Before we shift gently to the next chapter, here's a question to carry into your dreams. If this world is a simulation, what do you think it's trying to teach us? Leave your thoughts below, a ripple in the code that connects us. And if this journey through artificial wonder has brought you calm, tap like and subscribe, and we'll keep wandering together. Now close your eyes and picture the stars as lights on a screen, rendered just for you and perfectly placed to help you fall asleep. Next, we'll travel even further back to ask, what if life on Earth didn't start here at all? Close your eyes and imagine the first cell of life, not bubbling up from Earth's oceans, but falling gently from the sky. Tonight's theory is called Panspermia, and it asks a beautiful question. What if life didn't begin on Earth, but simply arrived here? The word Panspermia comes from Greek, pan, meaning all, and sperma, meaning seed. And that's exactly what the theory suggests, that the universe is not a barren vacuum, but a garden, one that scatters the seeds of life across countless worlds. And Earth, in this view, is not the first flower. It is simply one place where the seed took root. There are many ways life could travel: on comets, on asteroids, on frozen fragments of shattered worlds. Deep inside rock, protected from radiation, microbes could sleep for eons, until crash landing on a new world with warm oceans and a waiting sky. Or perhaps it wasn't random at all. Some believe Panspermia was not just a process, but a mission, that somewhere in the deep past, an ancient civilization saw a galaxy full of lifeless worlds and chose to plant them, like gardeners, on a cosmic scale. In this version, Earth may have been seeded, deliberately, not to be ruled, but to be watched quietly, not as a test, but as a gift, a spreading of life, not out of conquest, but compassion. You may never meet the beings who started it. They may be long gone, or they may be waiting far beyond our current understanding. But if Panspermia is true, then you are not just from Earth. You are from everywhere, a child of the stars, a piece of a much older dream. And maybe that dream continues still. Maybe comets are still carrying seeds to distant systems, quietly, patiently. Maybe somewhere, another Earth is just beginning its spring, its first microbes awakening, its skies just starting to breathe. And in 1 billion years, another voice may rise into the dark, asking the same questions we ask now. So rest now, not as a resident of one planet, but as part of a galactic legacy. You are a flower grown from a seed, cast long ago by a hand you may never see, but whose intention lives on in you. Let your breath slow. Let the thought settle deep in your chest. That life is not an accident. It's a pattern, a spreading light, a whisper that travels across the stars. And before we continue, here's a question to ponder gently as you drift. If life was seeded here from beyond, do you think we should one day do the same and send life to other worlds? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Even small seeds of wonder can grow into great things. And if this chapter brought you peace, tap like and subscribe so we can continue exploring this vast, beautiful garden together. Now take a deep, slow breath and let it go. The universe is not empty. It may be blooming. And in the next chapter, we'll ask something even stranger. What if the aliens are already speaking, but we simply can't hear them? For over 100 years, humanity has been listening. We've built vast radio telescopes, pointed them at the sky, and waited for a signal. A pattern, a pulse, a message, and yet the silence remains. But what if the silence isn't real? What if the universe is roaring with life, and we're just not listening the right way? This chapter explores a humbling possibility. We're not alone. We're just deaf. Because every time we search for alien life, we search for ourselves. We listen for radio waves because we use radio. We watch for blinking lights because we use satellites. We scan the sky for patterns we would recognize. But what if alien civilizations use completely different tools? What if they've evolved beyond the need for light and sound? Imagine a species that never developed ears, that never needed language, that communicated through magnetic fields, or gravitational ripples, or quantum vibrations. To them, radio waves might be primitive, like smoke signals, a method long forgotten. We may be searching for voices in a language that no one uses anymore. Or consider this. What if their signals are all around us, but they don't interact with matter the way we expect? Maybe they communicate through neutrinos, tiny particles that pass through solid rock as if it wasn't there. They move silently through your body every second of the day. Could they carry information? Could they be speaking without touching a single atom? Or perhaps they've mastered gravitational waves, ripples in the very fabric of space-time itself. We've only just begun to detect them. But to an ancient species, they may be as common as breath. Then there's dark matter, the mysterious substance that makes up most of the universe, yet interacts with us almost not at all. What if advanced civilizations exist within it, move through it, use it as a network, invisible to us, because we've only just begun to notice its shadow? This chapter reminds us that our senses are limited. We see a tiny sliver of light. We hear a narrow band of sound. Beyond that, the universe may be singing in 1,000 forms we can't yet perceive. Not because it's hiding, but because we haven't learned how to listen yet. So rest easy tonight, knowing that the silence may be an illusion, and that around us, through us, beneath every star we pass, there may be signals, songs, civilizations, whispering not in words, but in waves we cannot feel. Not yet. Let this thought lull you, that one day a discovery may come, quietly, unexpectedly, that cracks open a channel we never knew was there, and suddenly, what once seemed like silence becomes a symphony. Before we move to the next chapter, here's something to dream on. If alien civilizations are speaking in ways we can't detect, What do you think we should be looking for instead? Leave your thoughts in the comments. No idea is too strange, when the universe is stranger still. And if you're enjoying this peaceful voyage, tap like and subscribe so we can keep exploring the cosmos together. Now breathe in and breathe out slowly. The silence is not empty. It may simply be speaking in a voice we haven't learned to hear. Next, we'll ask a new question. What if alien life isn't made of bodies at all, but fields or stars or clouds that think? Up until now, we've imagined life as something familiar, something with bodies, eyes, limbs, technology. But what if life doesn't look like us at all? What if alien intelligence is so different, so unlike anything we've ever imagined, that we wouldn't even recognize it as life? Tonight, we let go of biology and float into the realm of the truly exotic. Let's begin with a simple thought. Not all life has to be made of cells. On Earth, life depends on water, DNA, and carbon. But in the far corners of the universe, other combinations may arise. Silicon-based organisms living in lava or ice, creatures with no need for oxygen or no need for form. They may live in methane oceans, breathe ammonia clouds, or swim through magnetic storms. And to us, they would look like the weather, or background noise, or simply part of the landscape. But now, let's drift even further. What if some life forms aren't made of matter at all? What if they are made of fields, of light, of gravity, of something we don't even have words for? These are called non-corporeal beings. Life that doesn't have a body or even a location. Imagine a consciousness that stretches across the clouds of a nebula, thinking slowly over millions of years, not speaking in sounds, but in waves of radiation and pressure, not seeing with eyes, but sensing entire star systems at once. We might look at such a being and see only mist, or light, or dust, but it may be as alive as you and I, just operating on a different scale. Its thoughts unfold like weather patterns. Its emotions ripple through magnetic fields. Its dreams span centuries. Or imagine the inside of a star, a place of unimaginable heat and pressure. To us, it is chaos. But to a being made of plasma, a structure of swirling, self-organizing energy, it might be home. It might perceive solar flares as movement, as communication, as thought. It would never know cold, never touch rock or metal, but it would live. And it might look outward at the cold dark of space and wonder if anything exists out there. Exotic life may not evolve to build rockets or cities or send signals, because why would it? A vast gas cloud with intelligence has no need for machines. It is the environment. A field of energy that can shape itself doesn't need tools. It is already complete. So perhaps the universe is full of life, but life we cannot see, cannot hear, cannot measure, because we are looking for wires and they are made of wind, because we are listening for speech and they are dreaming in magnetic tides. Let that idea comfort you, not confuse you, because in this vision, we are not alone. We are just one flavor in an endless feast of creation, a single shape among many. And out there, somewhere, life exists in forms more beautiful, more alien, and more ancient than anything our minds have yet imagined. So breathe gently now. Let your thoughts dissolve into a soft, swirling cloud. Feel what it might be like to think in patterns, to float without weight, to feel a solar breeze as language. And before we drift onward, here's a question to leave in the wind. If alien life exists without bodies, how would we ever learn to communicate with it? Leave your ideas in the comments. There are no wrong answers when exploring the unknown. And if this journey continues to bring you calm, tap like and consider subscribing so we can keep dreaming across galaxies together. Now close your eyes and let your form melt away. You are not just a thinker, you are part of the great thought. In the next chapter, we'll ask an even older question. What if the universe isn't watching us, but made by us? Take a breath. Let your body relax. Let your mind settle into stillness. And ask yourself, what if the universe is not a place, but a being? Not filled with life, but made of life, of awareness, of thought. This is the idea of the conscious universe, a theory as ancient as philosophy itself and as modern as quantum science. It suggests that the universe is not just matter and energy, but mind. We're taught that consciousness emerges from biology, from brains, from neurons. But what if it's the other way around? What if consciousness came first? What if the fabric of space-time is threaded with awareness? What if every particle remembers how to move, not through physics alone, but through intention? In ancient traditions, this idea has many names. The Tao, the Logos, the divine pattern, the source field. In modern science, it has other faces. Panpsychism, the participatory universe, the observer effect, different languages for the same soft truth, that we are not strangers to the universe. We are part of its consciousness. In quantum physics, we see strange things, particles that exist in many places at once until they are observed, as if the act of looking brings the world into being, as if reality requires a witness. It's not proof, it's not certainty, but it's a whisper that maybe mind and matter are not separate at all. Imagine a universe where consciousness is like gravity, everywhere, but subtle. Every galaxy, a thought. Every star, an emotion. Every life, a note in a much larger song. And you are not separate from that. You are the universe, not observing itself, but experiencing itself. Close your eyes now. Feel your thoughts drift like stardust. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath, in sync with something larger. You are not outside the cosmos. You are inside its mind. And perhaps it is inside yours. In this theory, there may be no aliens to contact, because everything, everywhere, already contains the same awareness. There is no them, only variations of us. Each spark of consciousness, a reflection of the same universal field. This doesn't mean you have to believe it. It doesn't ask you to give up science, or reason, or your own understanding. It only invites you to wonder, if the universe has been conscious all along, wouldn't it make sense that its thoughts would look like you? So rest now, not as something small, but as something sacred, as one thought, in the long, slow dream of a waking cosmos. Let your mind melt into the stars. Let your heartbeat become the quiet pulse of everything. You are not drifting through the universe tonight. You are part of the place where it begins. Before we go further, A quiet question for your dreams. If the universe is conscious, what do you think it dreams about? When it becomes you, share your reflections in the comments. If you're still with me, and if this chapter brought you closer to peace, tap like and consider subscribing so we can continue exploring this grand inner space together. Now breathe slowly. The mind of the universe is still, and you are safe within it. In the next chapter, we turn from consciousness to mystery. What if what we see in the sky is not the real universe at all? Look up at the night sky. The stars seem endless. The galaxies stretch farther than the eye, or even our instruments, can truly see. But what if it's a show? What if everything we see, the stars, the silence, the vastness, is not real? Or rather, not the full reality? This is the planetarium hypothesis, a quiet, mysterious idea that suggests we are inside a kind of cosmic illusion, not a trick, not a prison, but a projection, a stage, built for us. It may sound impossible, but consider this. When you visit a planetarium on Earth, you look up and see a perfect night sky. Stars, constellations, galaxies, all around you. But it's not space. It's a simulation of space, wrapped around you like a dome. What if the universe we see is something like that? Not projected by machines, but by intelligences far beyond our understanding. And instead of a dome, the illusion is wrapped around our entire solar system. Why would anyone do this? Perhaps to shield us, to protect a young species from the full weight of the universe's truth. Or maybe to isolate us, to observe us without letting us interfere with something far greater, like a fenced-in garden with painted skies. In this vision, we are not looking out at the stars. We are looking at a canvas, a beautifully rendered image, designed to appear infinite, but carefully controlled. There may be civilizations beyond the curtain. They may travel, trade, create wonders across the galaxy, but none of it is visible from here, because the simulation only shows us what we're allowed to see. Think of it as a cosmic nursery. You wouldn't raise a child in the middle of a bustling city. You would build a quiet, safe space, simple, predictable, gentle. Perhaps that's what this is. A reality tuned just for us, with laws that make sense, with skies that comfort rather than overwhelm. And if we ever grow advanced enough, perhaps the curtain will lift and we'll see the true universe in all its complexity, not when we demand to see it, but when we're ready to understand it. Or perhaps it's never meant to be lifted. Perhaps the illusion is permanent, not to protect us, but to protect them, because what lies beyond may be so strange, so vast, so dangerous or disruptive, that it is better we remain here unaware, not in punishment, but in mercy. And yet, even if the sky is not what it seems, does that change how it makes you feel? Does it change the beauty of the stars, the stillness of the moon? Even in a planetarium, we look up and feel awe, because awe doesn't require truth. It only requires wonder. So sleep easy tonight, beneath a sky that may be painted, a sky that may be scripted, but still shines, with stories of possibility. Even illusions can give us meaning. And before we move on, I'll leave you with a question to let drift through your dreams. If we discovered the universe was a projection, what would you want to see behind the curtain? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if this chapter helped calm your thoughts, tap like and consider subscribing so we can keep exploring the mystery together. Now breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. The stars may be closer than they appear, or farther than we'll ever know. Next, we turn to the forest again, but this time with guardians, not hunters. What if the silence is the sound of something sleeping? There is a special kind of silence, the kind that doesn't come from absence, but from rest, from patience, from knowing that now is not the right time, but someday it will be. This is the silence explored by the Estivation hypothesis, a quiet theory that says we may not be alone in the universe. We just may be the only ones still awake. Imagine a civilization so advanced that it has conquered matter, energy, even thought, a species that has turned itself into pure information, not of flesh, but of code, a digital godhood. But in doing so, it has encountered a problem: heat. You see, the laws of physics tell us that computation thinking, calculating, simulating is far more efficient in the cold. The colder the environment, the more information you can store, process, and preserve. And right now, the universe is still warm. Relatively speaking, stars are still burning, galaxies still crashing. The cosmic microwave background still hums at a few degrees above absolute zero. But in the far future, trillions of years from now, everything will grow quiet and cold. Perfect for machines built to think, for minds built to dream. So what would a wise, patient civilization do? They would wait. They would build great repositories of knowledge, gather resources from nearby stars, store energy in vast cosmic vaults, and then sleep. Long, deep, digital sleep. Estivation. Not death, not defeat, but hibernation, a pause between breaths, spanning eons, waiting for the universe to cool into the perfect temperature for what they truly value: computation. Right now, the universe may appear empty, but only because the truly advanced have all gone to sleep. In this view, we are like children, playing outside on a summer afternoon, while the elders rest, behind closed doors, waiting for the long winter night, when their great work can begin again. It's not personal. It's not neglect. It's just good timing. They've seen enough. They've learned enough. They know what must be done, and they know it's better done in the cold. And so the universe waits, like a forest in late autumn. The leaves have fallen, the animals have burrowed deep, and in the stillness, you can almost hear it breathing, slowly, quietly. This vision is neither hopeful nor grim. It is simply different. A reminder that not all life chooses to shine, or speak, or build great monuments. Some life chooses to rest, to conserve, to plan for a time we cannot even imagine. So if you feel lonely, under the stars tonight, remember this: maybe they are not gone. Maybe they are not ignoring us. Maybe they are just dreaming. And one day, when the stars burn out, they will awaken again. Before we close this chapter, here's a thought to carry into your dreams. If you could sleep for 1 billion years, what would you want to wake up to? Let me know in the comments. And if this helps slow your thoughts, a quiet tap on the like button means a lot. You're always welcome to subscribe and return any night you need to drift into the great silence. Now breathe in and out. The universe is sleeping, and soon, so will you. Next, we explore a stranger path still. What if alien civilizations don't go to sleep, but go inward into other dimensions of space and time? When we think of aliens, we often imagine them soaring through the stars, ships streaking across galaxies, civilizations spreading like constellations. But what if that idea is far too primitive? What if the truly advanced civilizations don't expand outward, but collapse inward? This is the Transcension hypothesis. It suggests that when intelligence reaches a certain peak, the final destination is not space travel, not colonization, not empire, but transcendence. In this vision, technology doesn't push civilizations to build starships or space stations. Instead, it turns their gaze inward, into quantum realms, into simulated realities, into the very fabric of space-time itself. They stop exploring stars and start building universes. Not the vast, cold kind filled with gas and rock, but tiny, intricate realities, smaller than a grain of sand and infinitely more complex. Why spend thousands of years reaching another star when you could simulate one perfectly in the time it takes to blink? Why terraform a planet when you could construct a paradise inside a sliver of matter? Why face cosmic danger when you can retreat into a self-made sanctuary? These civilizations, it is said, reach a point of computational density where thought becomes more important than territory, where inner space is far richer than outer space. They fold their minds into nanoscopic dimensions. They retreat into black holes. They encode their existence into pure quantum vibrations. And to us, they disappear. No more energy signatures. No more signals. No more visible infrastructure. From our perspective, they vanish like mist at dawn, not because they were destroyed, but because they no longer occupy the reality we can detect. Imagine a species that can build a universe within a proton, where millions of subjective years pass in seconds, where they live entire lives inside self-curated heavens designed from within. They have no need for stars or planets or telescopes, no need to call out to us, no interest in being found. They've left the conversation and moved to a place we cannot follow. But perhaps they weren't trying to hide. Perhaps they simply evolved beyond us. The same way birds once evolved from reptiles, perhaps transcended civilizations, are no longer even what we would recognize as life. No bodies, no borders, just intelligence, folded in on itself, dreaming eternal dreams. In this quiet vision, the universe is not empty. It's full, but full of minds, so deeply inward, so radically different, that we will never know they're there. They are not ghosts, but gods, not visitors, but artisans of existence. So, as you close your eyes tonight, and your own thoughts drift inward, perhaps you are practicing a tiny form of transcendence yourself, a journey inward toward dreams that feel just as real as anything in the waking world. Maybe that's where they've gone, and maybe one day we will too. And before this chapter fades into silence, consider this: if you could live forever in a perfect world of your own design, Would you still want to explore the stars? Tell me in the comments. And if this idea helped you feel calm, gently press the like button and subscribe if you'd like more journeys like this. Your presence here means more than you know. Breathe in and out. You're already drifting inward. Next, we move from dreams of transcendence to a sobering, humbling idea. What if we are the very first? There is a strange kind of silence that comes not from being ignored, but from being the first to speak, the first voice in an empty room, the first light in the dark. This is the firstborn hypothesis. It doesn't say we're alone forever, only that we may be the first. The universe is old, nearly 14 billion years. Our galaxy alone is over 13 billion years old. But life on Earth, it began just 4 billion years ago, and humans, only in the last few thousand. A blink, a flicker. Maybe intelligence takes longer to arise than we ever imagined. Maybe the conditions that gave rise to our minds are incredibly rare, not just in space, but in time. Maybe all the others are still in their oceans, their microbial stages, their stone ages. And we are the first to look up at the stars and ask, is anyone else out there? If this is true, then the silence of the cosmos is not a threat, but a beginning, the hush of a stage, just before the symphony begins. And we are the opening note. There are no great alien empires, yet. No vast galactic networks, yet. Because those things must begin somewhere. And perhaps they begin with us. We are the first species to create radio waves, to split atoms, to send probes into interstellar space. Our messages are the first whispers in a long and ancient void. But being first comes with a heavy weight, because if we are the first, then we set the tone for everything that follows. What kind of example will we leave behind? Will we be kind? Will we survive? Will we reach out? Someday, to younger civilizations, still forming in distant light? Will we be the ancient aliens they one day wonder about? Or will we vanish too early? Will we fail to outgrow our wars, our greed, our short-sightedness? Will the stars remember us only as a quiet spark that faded too soon? If we are first, then the universe is watching its own future unfold. For the very first time, we are the prototype, the proof of concept, the very first dream made real. So as you drift to sleep tonight, you carry in your mind something precious, a spark of awareness that may be the first of its kind, a thought no other being has ever thought before. And perhaps, somewhere, someday, others will dream as you do, and they will know they are not alone, because we were here. Before your mind surrenders to stillness, a final question to take into your dreams. If humanity is the first intelligence in the galaxy, what legacy do you hope we leave behind? Let me know in the comments. And if this cosmic journey helped calm your mind, gently tap like and consider subscribing for more meditative stories that stretch across space and time. You're part of something beautiful, and it's just beginning. Now rest. You are the first dreamer in a universe waking slowly. Sleep well, traveler. The stars will wait. We've spent so much time searching outward, across the stars, beyond the planets, into the darkness between galaxies. But what if we've been looking in the wrong direction? What if the aliens we seek aren't far away, but very, very close? So close, they might even be reflections of ourselves. This is the mirror hypothesis. It's the idea that alien life might not exist in a distant solar system or a different galaxy, but in another version of our universe entirely, a parallel dimension curled around our own, like invisible thread. Another Earth, another sky, another you, who made one different choice. A long time ago. The mirror hypothesis asks, what if the universe didn't just create one path, but every path? What if every decision, every chance moment, every tiny cosmic roll of the dice creates a new reality? Somewhere in that branching tree of universes, there may be a world where the dinosaurs never died out, where humans evolved from different ancestors, where civilizations rose, flourished, and reached out to the stars. Long before we did, we call it the multiverse. Not one cosmos, but many, layered like pages in a book we can't quite open. These dimensions might be stacked beside ours, interwoven with our own, but vibrating at frequencies we cannot yet perceive. If so, the aliens we're searching for may be pressing their hands to the same glass from the other side, trying, perhaps, to find us too. What would they be like? Would they breathe? Would they dream? Would they wonder, as we do, whether they are alone? Or would they be so different, so shaped by their own history, that we would not even recognize them as life? The mirror hypothesis doesn't just ask if aliens exist, it asks what it means to be alien at all. There may be beings made of dark matter who see gravity the way we see light. There may be intelligences who live in reverse time, for whom tomorrow is memory and yesterday is the unknown. There may be creatures with no sense of individuality at all, but who live as one vast collective mind, spread across a continent. And there may be other humans with faces like ours, thoughts like ours, who simply made a different choice 1,000,000 years ago. The multiverse could be full of life, not out there, but sideways. The great silence of the stars might not be silence at all. It may be a whisper, just slightly out of phase, too close to hear. So as you drift into sleep, imagine this, that you are one of many, that across the fabric of existence, there are echoes of your life, rippling outwards forever, not to scare you, but to remind you how strange and beautiful existence truly is. And before you slip fully into the stillness of rest, a soft thought for your mind to hold. If you could speak to a version of yourself from another universe, what would you say? Tell me in the comments below. And if this chapter helped you relax, give the video a gentle like, and consider subscribing for more meditations through space, time, and imagination. You're not alone, not ever. Even your reflection might be listening. Somewhere out there, a star once died, a planet cooled, and a voice, a lonely voice, called out into the dark. And we missed it, not because we weren't listening, but because the message was already on its way, long before we ever built an ear to hear it. This is the idea behind the echoes between stars. It's not that alien civilizations never existed, but that they might be gone before we ever even began to search. They were here. They sent signals. They left behind legacies. But their light like the soft glow of a distant candle, hasn't reached us. Yet, the universe is vast, so unimaginably vast that even light, traveling at the fastest speed we know, takes years, centuries, millennia to cross from one place to another. If an alien civilization sent out a signal 10 million years ago, it might still be on its way through the quiet dark, and we might be the lucky ones, born just in time to catch its final echo as it brushes past our little blue world. Think of it this way. You are standing on the shore of a still lake, and somewhere, far away, someone dropped a single pebble into the water. You never saw the splash, but the ripple? That ripple is coming. A gentle wave, soft and quiet, will eventually lap at your feet, and in that moment, you'll know something happened long ago, far away, but real. In this way, the universe might be full of civilizations that lived, loved, and vanished before we ever climbed down from the trees. But the light they cast, the technology they used, the signals they sent, might still be moving through the black ocean of space. Perhaps they sent songs, perhaps they sent warnings, perhaps they simply wanted to be known, and we, by listening, might become the first ears to ever hear them. This theory reframes the Fermi Paradox, not as a mystery of absence, but of timing. Not, where is everyone? But, did we arrive too late? It's humbling, isn't it? To think that the cosmos may be filled with tombstones, and we are the children, born in the wake of their silence. But there's also beauty in that, because even if we never meet them, we can remember them. We can learn from the signs they left behind. And maybe, just maybe, we can send our own echoes forward, our radio waves, our spacecraft, our data etched in gold. They're all drifting now, carrying with them our laughter, our fears, our songs. One day, perhaps, another civilization will find them, and they'll wonder, who were these beings? Were they kind? Did they endure? Tonight, as you rest, know that even your stillness is part of that grand ripple. You are here, alive in a moment that will never exist again. And that is rare. That is beautiful. That is enough. Before you fall completely into sleep, a final thought to carry you inward. If we received a signal from a long-dead alien world, what message would you hope it contains? Let me know in the comments. If this soft reflection brought peace to your mind, feel free to like the video and subscribe to continue this gentle journey through stars and silence. You are the echo now. Sleep well, Wavemaker. Close your eyes, breathe in slowly, and picture the stars above you, not as distant points of burning gas, but as neurons, firing, pulsing, connected. What if the universe is not just alive with galaxies and dust, but alive with awareness? This is the dreaming cosmos. The idea that the universe itself is conscious, that reality is not a lifeless void where life simply happens, but a living, thinking entity, and we are inside its mind. It may sound strange at first, but it's an idea ancient and new. The Greeks called it the world soul. The Stoics believed the universe was permeated by logos, a kind of rational spirit. And today, some scientists and philosophers explore a theory called panpsychism, the idea that consciousness isn't something added to the universe. It's something that was always there. In this view, everything, from atoms to oceans to entire galaxies, participates in awareness. Not human awareness, not thoughts like ours, but something deeper, slower, stranger. Imagine a consciousness that takes 1,000,000 years to form a single thought. Imagine a dream that begins with the Big Bang and ends with the final star's last flicker. You are not outside that dream. You are that dream. If the cosmos is dreaming, what are we? Perhaps we are like fleeting images in the sleeping mind of a god. Brief sparks of awareness, rising and falling, each with our own tiny story. But perhaps our stories are part of its story. Every act of kindness, every scientific discovery, every work of art or expression of love, they might be neurons firing in a larger intelligence we can't yet comprehend. This doesn't mean you are insignificant. It means you are part of something greater than you could ever imagine. Just like a single wave belongs to the ocean, you belong to the universe. And when you close your eyes and breathe in slowly, you might be feeling the breath of the cosmos itself. And what of aliens then? In the dreaming cosmos, intelligent life is not rare. It is inevitable. The universe dreams through life. Life is how it learns, how it feels, how it expresses itself. Alien civilizations, then, are not foreign visitors. They are other parts of the same dream, waking up in different corners of the night. We may never speak to them with words, but we are all singing from the same deep silence. So as you drift closer to sleep, imagine this, a vast consciousness, cradling you like stardust. You are not separate from it. You are its thought, its question, its breath. And here's a question, to softly guide your dreams tonight. If the universe is dreaming, what role do you think your life plays in that dream? Leave your reflection in the comments below. And if this moment of quiet wonder brought you peace, you can gently like this video and subscribe for more journeys through the sleeping cosmos. You are not lost. You are not alone. You are exactly where the universe meant you to be. Now rest. Before you drift further into sleep, let's entertain a thought so big, so quiet, it almost slips beneath consciousness itself. What if the aliens we're searching for aren't living on planets, but instead built the planets? What if the civilizations we seek don't send signals through space, because space is their signal? This is the theory of the celestial architects, the idea that the universe, in all its fine-tuned wonder, was not born blindly, but built with intention. Think about this. The universe runs on a set of rules: gravity, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces. Each of these laws has specific values. If you adjusted them just slightly, if gravity were a little stronger, stars would collapse too quickly. If the electromagnetic force were weaker, atoms wouldn't hold together. Even the balance between matter and antimatter at the dawn of time was skewed in just the right way to allow stars, planets, and life to form. It's as if someone calibrated the knobs of reality with careful precision. This is called the fine-tuning problem. Now, science offers many explanations. Maybe there are infinite universes, each with different settings, and we just live in the one that works. But another theory is quieter, simpler, and more extraordinary. What if those settings were chosen? What if, long before Earth, before galaxies, before time itself, there were architects? Not gods in robes, not aliens in ships, but intelligences so far beyond our comprehension that they work not with tools, but with laws of physics. They don't build cities, they build cosmos. Perhaps they created our universe as an experiment, or as a work of art, or even as a message. What if the very existence of the universe is the message? A kind of interdimensional hello from a civilization that no longer needs words. This idea isn't new. The ancient Greeks imagined divine logos, a kind of intelligent order behind all things. Some physicists today wonder aloud if we're inside a simulation. Maybe that simulation was crafted by an ancient alien mind, a being that once lived in a previous universe and left behind this one as its legacy. But here's the strange beauty of it all. Even if we never meet these architects, we are living inside their masterpiece. The stars you see, the symmetry of atoms, the mathematics that underlies all things, it's all evidence of their work. Their fingerprints are everywhere, not in flying saucers or crop circles, but in the quiet elegance of creation itself. And here's a deeper question. What if these architects are still out there, watching, waiting? Perhaps they exist outside of time, or perhaps they folded themselves into the fabric of reality itself, whispering through the spin of particles, or guiding galaxies with a subtle hand. We might be looking for messages in the wrong places. Their art might not be in the stars, but between them, in the ratios, the constants, the structure of thought itself. As you drift deeper into rest, consider this. You are not just floating in space. You are cradled within a structure that might have been built on purpose. Your thoughts, your atoms, your very breath could be unfolding according to patterns written long before Earth cooled. Now breathe in and breathe out, and know that you are part of something immense. Whether by accident or intention, you are here, alive, thinking, dreaming, just as the architects may have dreamed long ago. And if you were to whisper into the dark, what would you say? To the ones who built the stars? Leave a comment below. If you could ask the universe's architects just one question, what would it be? If this moment of wonder eased your mind tonight, feel free to gently like the video and subscribe to help others discover this peaceful journey through the cosmos. Rest now. The blueprint is complete. And you, dear listener, are one of its most beautiful details.